Have you ever met someone incredibly talented? A singer? Whose voice gave you goosebumps? A producer? Who could make better music than artists with millions of streams? A painter? Whose work looked like it belonged in a gallery? A filmmaker? Who created masterpieces with almost no budget? And yet, years later, they're still unknown. Meanwhile, someone with half their talent is selling out shows, building a huge audience, and making a living doing what they love. Why? Because talent is not the reason people make it, and talent is definitely not the reason most people fail. In fact, some of the most talented artists in the world never achieve the success they deserve. Today, we're going to talk about the uncomfortable truth behind why 99% of talented artists never make it. And if you're an artist yourself, this might be the most important message you hear all year. Let's start with a myth. Most people believe success in art is a talent competition. They imagine the most skilled musician wins, the best painter gets discovered, the most creative filmmaker rises to the top. It sounds fair, it sounds logical, but reality doesn't work that way. If talent alone determined success, every music chart, every art gallery, and every movie studio would be filled with the most gifted people on Earth. Instead, the world is full of talented artists nobody knows, and full of successful artists people constantly criticize. Because talent gets your foot in the door, but it doesn't keep you in the room. The first reason talented artists fail is because they fall in love with creating, but they never learn how to be seen. They spend years perfecting their craft, thousands of hours, practicing, studying, learning, improving, and that's admirable. But then they upload one song, one video, one painting, and expect the world to notice. It doesn't. Not because the work isn't good, but because nobody knows it exists. The harsh reality is this: the world does not reward the best work. It rewards the best-known work. You can create the greatest masterpiece of your generation, but if nobody sees it, it changes nothing. Visibility matters. Marketing matters. Distribution matters. Attention matters. Ignoring these things doesn't make you a pure artist. It makes you an invisible artist. The second reason talented artists fail: they mistake perfection for progress. Every artist knows this feeling. You spend weeks working on something. Then you notice a flaw, then another, then another. Suddenly, you're changing things nobody else would even notice. Months pass. The project never gets released. You convince yourself you're protecting your standards, but in reality, you're hiding. Perfectionism often wears the mask of professionalism, but underneath, it's fear. Fear of criticism, fear of failure, fear of being judged. The artist who releases 10 imperfect projects learns more than the artist who spends 3 years perfecting one. Because success rewards action, not potential. The third reason talented artists fail is inconsistency. This one destroys more dreams than lack of talent ever could. Most artists don't quit in one dramatic moment. They disappear slowly. A missed week becomes a missed month. A missed month becomes a missed year. Life gets busy, motivation fades, excuses multiply, and before they know it, their dream has become a memory. The truth is simple. The market rewards people who show up, again and again and again. Not when they're inspired, not when they feel motivated, every day, especially on the days they don't feel like it. Consistency is what turns ordinary talent into extraordinary results. The fourth reason talented artists fail: they compare their beginning to someone else's middle. Social media makes this worse than ever. You open your phone, you see someone with millions of followers, millions of views, sold-out shows, luxury lifestyles, and suddenly, your own progress feels meaningless. What you don't see are the years before the spotlight, the failures, the rejected opportunities, The nights nobody believed in them, the content that got no views, the work that nobody noticed. Comparison steals momentum, and momentum is everything. Every minute spent obsessing over someone else's journey is a minute stolen from your own. The fifth reason talented artists fail: because they expect immediate results. This is one of the most dangerous traps in the creative world. An artist works hard for 6 months, maybe a year. Then they look around and think, why isn't this working? What they don't realize is that most success stories look instant, only from a distance. What appears to be an overnight success usually took years, sometimes decades. People celebrate the final chapter, but they never read the first 20 chapters that came before it. Patience isn't just important, it's required. Because creative careers are often delayed rewards. You work today, and the results may not arrive until years later. Now here's the part nobody talks about. The biggest obstacle facing talented artists isn't the competition, it isn't the algorithm, it isn't luck, it's themselves. Because eventually, every artist reaches a crossroads. One path says, keep going, keep creating, keep learning, keep showing up. The other path says, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe it's too late, maybe someone else deserves it more. Most artists lose the battle before reality ever defeats them. They quit mentally, long before they quit physically. And once that happens, the dream begins to die, not because they lacked talent, but because they lost belief. Think about this. Somewhere right now, there is a future superstar practicing in a tiny bedroom. A future best-selling author writing pages nobody will read today. A future filmmaker editing videos on an old laptop. A future producer making beats after work. Nobody knows their name yet. Nobody is cheering for them. Nobody is paying attention. But they keep going, because they understand something most people never will. Success is rarely a single breakthrough. It's thousands of invisible steps taken when nobody is watching. So if you're an artist listening to this, remember this: the world doesn't need more talented people. The world already has millions of them. What it needs are talented people who refuse to quit. Talented people who keep showing up. Talented people who release their work. Talented people who learn marketing. Talented people who stay patient. Talented people who continue creating when nobody is clapping. Because eventually, if you stay in the game long enough, you become impossible to ignore. And that's when everything changes. Not because you suddenly became talented, but because you finally stayed around long enough for the world to notice. So keep creating, keep building, keep moving forward. The dream isn't dead. The story isn't over. And your breakthrough might be much closer than you think, if you refuse to quit. Until next time, keep creating.